Let's go. You know it's baby new.
Hey guys, Golden here, and welcome to the Epic Games versus Apple trial day 4 recap. Today, guys, we finally got to hear from Apple. Instead of Epic being absolutely destroyed, Apple finally got some points thrown at them, and today both sides brought up some really good points. But after Apple destroyed Epic yesterday, Epic finally got their revenge, and you guys will see what I mean. So make sure you guys all go watch until the very end to make sure you guys get all the news. But either way, you guys know I don't want to waste you guys' time, so let's get right on into it. So this trial actually started off with Epic calling up Thomas Coe, an Epic employee, to the stand, and he was actually asked many questions that honestly don't really mean much to Fortnite Mobile players, so I'm not going to really answer all the questions and explain what they said because it really doesn't mean anything. But some important things that Coe did actually explain is Coe actually explained why Epic knows its payment system is reliable and safe. And obviously, guys, you guys know Apple actually claimed that allowing non-Apple in-app purchasing providers could possibly ruin Apple's security and user experience. However, Epic was claiming that they know for a fact their payment system is 100% safe. It's simply for buying V-Bucks and it's not for anything else. Now, Apple didn't really go on to this topic anymore. However, they brought up a new topic, and a lawyer then actually asked, do you know Project Liberty, which you guys didn't know is Epic's group of app developers fighting against Apple and Google, would be involved in deceiving Apple in some way? And obviously they're talking about, you know, like the direct payment system, how they secretly added it to the app, and then Epic actually answered, we were supplying payment solutions. So from the sounds of it, Apple is clearly accusing Epic of doing this horrific action. You know, they secretly added this into their app. However, Epic is trying to make it sound like, you know, something good. It was for the users. It wasn't bad in any way. It was simply a benefit to iOS players. So Apple was trying to prove that perhaps this information was stored somewhere, perhaps it was used in some malicious way. So then the lawyer asked, has Epic ever had any issues improperly collecting or using customer personal information in the past? And Epic said they don't believe so. Now, after Apple had a chance to ask Epic a bunch of questions, Epic decided to bring up a document that, let's just say, made Apple look really bad. So basically, this document came out from a top App Store manager who explained how she, quote unquote, feels extremely strong about not featuring our competitors on the App Store. Now, by this point, the Apple App Store VP Matthew Fisher was actually up at the stand, and he claimed that apparently this person was very misinformed. He followed up with her manager, apparently, like emailed the manager, letting her manager know that obviously this was not right and this email should not have been sent at all. However, Apple also did actually claim that they personally did feel strongly about not featuring competing apps. Now, continuing the topic of security risks, because obviously I haven't owned in-app purchase systems, the lawyer then actually asked if Apple has ever done any studies about, quote unquote, any security issues if a gaming company were to use a non-Apple purchasing method. And Apple replied, I'm not familiar with any study like that, no. So guys, as you guys know, for the longest time, Apple's claiming they weren't letting third-party payment processing because, you know, they didn't want to, you know, have security issues. They were claiming that they were trying to protect their users. However, there's no evidence or studies to actually prove that this was in fact protecting their users because they have never actually tested any of these third-party in-app purchase payment systems. Now, another point that many people were constantly bringing up, and Epic would always mention this, you know, like Amazon, you could use your own payment processing system, but Apple actually explained how apparently some apps sell, quote-unquote, person-to-person experience rather than digital ones such as like V-Bucks, and apparently those people can actually use different payment processing methods, which is why Amazon can use like PayPal and credit cards instead of Apple's in-app purchase system. So Epic's lawyer decided to ask, is there actually any evidence that these payment processing systems like Amazon's payment processing system and stuff like that are less safe and secure than Apple's payments? And Fisher said he hasn't seen any studies proving so. So guys, again, Apple keeps claiming, you know, it's for security of their users. They're not trying to have them lose anything. They're trying to make sure that all their information is safe. However, there's no evidence to prove so because they haven't really actually studied to see if these payment processors are actually safer or less safe than Apple's payment processing system. So basically, they have no evidence. Now, Apple then actually explained how they updated their terms of service, which originally did not actually allow gifting in apps. So basically, if you guys didn't know, when Fortnite gifting first came out, you could not actually gift iOS people on their iOS devices, and iOS players could not gift other people on other platforms. And when Fortnite actually requested Apple to allow this, Apple actually did allow it for all developers. So honestly, one good thing about Apple is they did end up allowing that for everyone, not just Fortnite. Overall, they did actually change their terms of service, and they were willing to change their terms of services for this feature for Fortnite. So honestly, that's kind of nice. So Epic then continued to question questioned Apple even further and talked about a promotion for Fortnite's holiday promotion. And they basically explained how apparently Apple actually leaked assets for that promotion, and the artwork for the holiday outfit was leaked in advance to the announcement from Epic. And if Epic did not have to obviously send these assets to Apple for review, and if they had their own app store, they would not be at risk of getting these assets getting leaked. And Apple also actually leaked music from the Marshmallow event because they brought it to Apple Music with Epic's approval. But still, guys, it's safe to say Apple keeps leaking stuff, and for whatever reason, Fortnite cannot stop them from leaking it because they're required to keep sending them these assets in order to obviously keep their game on the App Store and keep it updated. Now, here's where it started to get a little bit interesting. So an Epic lawyer actually went back to the sentence about Apple feeling strongly about not featuring apps that are competing with them and asked, "You are aware that Apple is under investigation from the European Union about self-preferencing apps on the App Store." And Fisher, the Apple representative, said he's aware but not up to speed. So I mean, obviously, guys, it's not fair that Apple can control this App Store and promote only the apps that they choose to promote. So let's say they just released a new app and they would put it in front of apps that might be doing better than their app, but just because they own the App Store, they can just, you know, completely destroy the competition and they can basically control everything. A really solid point coming out from Epic. So good job, Epic. You to go with this one, because honestly, it did definitely make Apple look a little bit dumb, and the fact that they could just control this competition environment, which honestly just isn't fair. Now, with that being said, I think it was safe to say Fisher definitely ended off on a bad note, and he ended up actually leaving the stand. And then Tristan Kosmyenka or something like that, a senior marketing director at Apple, actually ended up taking the stand. And then immediately the lawyer actually asked if the only way to get apps on iOS is with the iOS App Store, and Apple actually confirmed this. However, exceptions being the Enterprise program and test flight. So basically, Apple just confirmed the only way you guys can actually get iOS apps on your iOS devices is using the iOS App Store, the app store that Apple actually made. And obviously they can do whatever they want with this. They have just a lot of like a locked-in environment and do not let any other third-party app stores. So overall, it sounds like the only way you can make any app that's not in the App Store is with the Enterprise program and test flight, which overall just aren't really the best. However, according to Apple, they still explain how they do actually love third-party apps as much as customers do. However, my question is, if they love them that much, why don't they allow third-party app stores? Now, the Epic lawyer was clearly pushing against Apple, and they obviously had this momentum built up, so they just kept on bashing Apple. And they actually said Apple has aggressively rejected apps that use third-party payments, correct? And Epic really pushed that word aggressively, and Apple said yes. So the point Epic was trying to make here is obviously Epic was not allowed to use their own payment system, and all these other app developers out there were aggressively removed from the App Store, or maybe even like suspended on their developer account if they simply implemented their own third-party payment system. Epic then explained how Apple actually had terminated thousands of developers since 2017 because of people simply trying to put their own payment system into the app, and Apple simply agreed with this and said they did actually do this. And now this point was honestly kind of funny because I never thought I would hear Epic bring up Roblox. However, Epic mentioned the fact that Roblox allows tons of games on their app. As you guys know, literally hundreds of thousands of games are on Roblox. However, an app like the Epic Games Launcher with multiple games on that would not be allowed on to the App Store. So Epic was basically questioning the fact that why was Roblox, an app with many games on it, allowed onto the App Store, while an app like the Epic Games Launcher, which is a similar concept, would not be allowed onto the App Store. I mean, obviously you guys can say, you know, Roblox just has a bunch of games built into it. It's like a bunch of mini games. You could kind of like compare it to Fortnite Creative. So yeah, I definitely do think that was a really good point from Epic, and the fact that they somehow brought Roblox into this is still kind of funny, but still a really good point from Epic. So good job, Epic, you did it again. Now, Epic clearly wanted to continue on to the fact that obviously Apple has more freedom than the actual developers. So Epic then asked if Apple is aware that there are instances where there are things that certain developers are not allowed to do, but Apple allows themselves to do, and Apple confirmed that this is in fact true. So basically what that means is app developers cannot do what Apple does, but Apple can do what Apple does, which honestly just isn't fair. The fact that they have more freedom than app developers just shows that they truly have this huge monopoly over the App Store. So in my opinion, guys, I legitimately think that the judge should definitely admit that the App Store is slightly monopolized by Apple. But then again, I'm not really a lawyer, so I don't really have a say in this. Now, pretty much the last thing they talked about, they discussed like web apps and basically explained how developers are obviously free to create web apps like, you know, NVIDIA GeForce Now now, which could simply be added to the home screen. But Epic explained how web apps have many downsides, such as like not having notifications. Obviously, AR was also not allowed, and there's like a 50 megabyte usage on the memory limit. And overall, it's just a lot harder to develop on and code on. So Epic was explaining how the solution would simply be App Store freedom, where developers could develop whatever they want, whenever they want on the App Store. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything that went down during the Epic Games versus Apple trial day number 4. Not nearly as crazy as yesterday, but still, we heard some really good points from both sides. And overall, Epic, I can't say dominated today. I would say Epic definitely took a W today. And you guys have absolutely been loving these daily core case summary uploads. So if you guys want me to continue making them, drop a like and subscribe, and I will keep producing these super informational video for all of you guys, because guys, we are putting 6 hours of core trial into about a 10-minute video. We got nearly 10 more trial days, and hopefully next week we get a basic idea of who's going to win this lawsuit and whether or not we're actually going to be getting Fortnite Mobile back somewhat soon.